So folks, as you can see now we've got the tank on the stand and we've drained the fuel out of the tank. You just remove the bung underneath, put a funnel underneath it into your petrol container. That's what I've used. We can dispose of that. And all we're going to do, because we're not doing a full flat down on this tank, because we're keeping the main colour and everything on there, and all we're doing is adding to it, so we just need a light sand down. So for that, when we're flattening down this, I just use some worn paper which has been used on other projects. Always keep that handy. So what starts off as like a 1200 wet and dry ends up like a 1600, so you just use it again. That way you're not cutting too far into your paint. So we've got a little bit of soapy water in there, nice and warm, and then all we're doing is just going to flat over the existing paint on the tank, or the clear coat so to speak, and that'll give us the key then for laying over the stencils. And obviously we want to take all the polymers and polish out from the existing job. Got a year of polish on this tank now, so after doing this, to completely use a panel wipe and take all the resins and, as I say, the polymers out. Just beware that if you're still keeping the existing paintwork, if you're ever doing any overlaying yourself, not to cut too deep and take away your edges. And as I say, there's only a light rub down, it's just to give the paint a key to what's already there. So if paintwork's something you've never had a go at yourself, just bearing in mind that I was never trained in paintwork, it's just the same as anything else, it's something you can learn over time. I've painted a lot of things over the years, from classic cars, the trucks, bikes, and it's something you pick up. So the more you do it, the more you get used to it. I don't know if you can see on this angle, but little selection of my paint tools, and on the wall we're actually using a charcoal filter which can run an air-fed mask if you're in a small workshop like this. And obviously I think, or it might not be on the tube, but I think if some of you follow the ALCHEMOTO page on Facebook, you'll have noticed the installation of the extractor fan now in the garage. So with a small space like this, especially, you want to take as much of the fumes out of here as possible, what not only for your own health benefits, but also stops dust settling down on the final clear coat. You can polish that out, but the less dust in the air, the better. Okay, get a clear rag. And when you've got all the shine off, you know you're about ready. Okay, just about. A few corners there and then we're about right. Okay, so what we're looking for then, after you've done your flatting and you've wiped off, is all the paintwork then to have that dull appearance all over. And then if you take your panel wipe, see, that's puts the shine back. Take all those greases and polymers out. See that now dry off. And you want the whole panel to be an even flat finish. We've got a couple of little marks here, we'll do a little bit more flattening off on them and take them out as well, then we know that panel is completely flat. And it's time to start putting the line tape on and marking out where we are going to overlay with the stencils. Okay, so going around the tank now, you can see we took most, 99% of the lacquer shine. There's still a few little bits in the corners, just over there, but not too worried about that. And we're about ready now to apply some more line tape and mark out where we're going to do the extra custom work. Okay, so the line tape, I'll always use a genuine 3M product, and purely because when you come for doing the curves, any of the cheap ones, they tend to stretch and pull, and I think I've used a few of them before and had marks around. And you can still get it with the 3M if you pull in a tight line, but you just got to be very, very careful. Okay, so what we're going to do here now is we need to put a line around from the skull, 2 sections here, and then maybe one on here. So we're going to lay that down now and have another look and see if we're happy with that. Okay, so just to try and get a feel of what I'm trying to achieve, see the tape now is following the line underneath the skull, which is going to be enhanced more than what it is. And then these lines, when they're painted in, the gold line will meet to this line and this line, and then we'll scallop this around the Harley Davidson. So leave it as it is. We're going to highlight over the lettering and the 48, and then if we now, let's just have a look at this and see if we've got it right. Pull the center line off like that. Okay, push these down. Okay, and now the scallop should flow here to this line, over the black, and then round, and then we'll do the other side. Okay, and the next we'll work the top area. So this is, and I'll just show you. Okay, so we're going to have the fish scales along the back, along the top and down. Maybe on the top here, I've not quite made my mind up, might do something different there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll follow these around on this side with the line tape and scallop that area in. Okay, so that's the final masking with the line tape. and that's about all we're going to do. Originally I was going to do some of the fish scaling on the top here now, but with these scallops around here, we're just going to do the scales on there, on the top and on the other side, and then highlight back in the Harley Davidson badge and the 48. And they're just going to have a little bit of airbrush black to bring and make them stand out. Had to put the line tape back over the existing gold. Obviously what we're going to do now is just airbrush these in to create that gold line, which will match this gold line, and then we're ready to do the stencil work. So as you can see, it seems like there's a hell of a lot of masking just for the 3 lines, and it is, but it's necessary. As soon as what you don't want is any of that misted paint to go over any parts of the tank, where paint where you don't want it to go, and then hence that's the reason why there's so much, because you got the blue line tape obviously, which I've shown you, and then the whole lot masked up. Okay, so now we're just going to go ahead now and blow those in with the airbrush. Okay folks, so as I said before, now we're at the stage to lay on with the paint. We've mixed the airbrush. Now what we're going to use for this is just a suction feed airbrush, purely because we're only doing the lines, we're not doing anything that's too detailed. So we're plumbed into the compressor through the charcoal filter to make sure we get no water droplets whatsoever through our paintwork in this workshop. And we've done a 2-to-1 mix with the gold, which is the same gold as we've used before in the other lines. And we will just show you what sort of effect we'll get with that airbrush now for going over the lines. Okay, so it's nothing special. We use a cheap gravity suction feed airbrush just for this purpose. Like I said, it's only the lines. Always have a bit of a practice template. There you go. And that's all we're going to achieve. ALCHEMOTO. Okay, so let's go. And with this being a base colour, it will actually air dry more or less as soon as you put it on. You need about 2 or 3 coats just to make sure the colour matches what's underneath. Okay, so we'll just give that a minute. Looking good. always the tedious bit now. Usually the masking tape that I use is the green one, which is not as adhesive as this, which is brilliant for when you're overlaying on fresh paints. Otherwise, what can happen if you try and do some overlay maybe a day or two, 48 hours after laying some coats on, is that this stuff there, your standard masking tape, it can actually leave residue and glue and interfere with the paint underneath, and can make a mess as well. So I think I've actually still got some of this, which is, if you're going to do anything like this, I'll be using this more for the detail work after, obviously, because we've been using some fresh paint since. So if you're going to use tape on your paint work, make sure you go for this, the green stuff. You can buy that from any paint suppliers or even off eBay. Doesn't matter for this stuff. And again, this is a lot easier because the paint that's on the majority of the tank has been on now for a year. I'm not going to get those nail marks digging into the paint. Just something you've got to be very careful of. Folks, okay.